Hey everyone, Crash and Crash Customs, Lake Havasu, Arizona. We got more progress on the 1954 Ford Victoria Crestline. Roof for the 54, drip rails and jambs are sandblasted, and I knew there was going to be some work. There's a little work, a couple little pinholes right there, but here we go. I don't know, maybe I need to film this in the shop. There's pinholes. Sometimes they're more than pinholes. Here we go. You see that though? Yeah. Man, if these cars were perfect, they wouldn't even be here for me to work on. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? With the top inside out of the sun, you can see the rust that came through when we blasted it. So both sides, really. Passenger side is worse, which is how it is on the other roof also. Two different roofs from two different areas of the country, and same rust out. Gonna have to think about this for a minute, come up with a new plan, and you know, maybe between the two roofs there's enough good that I can cut and splice in. That'd be the easiest, I guess. If panels have to be made, it's not that complicated of a piece to put in. Really, I don't know if you can tell by the way this is, but the skin in the drip rail was just spot welded to the drip rail and inner structure. And there's a slight curve here, obviously, and then a 90 to the drip rail. So anything is possible, but we were really hoping to just cut it at the pillars, put it on, and send it off to get body worked and painted. But now there's going to be some definite fabrication. Maybe look for a convertible top. I don't know. Nah, we're not going to do that. We got some of the panels in. Doesn't matter if all of them are here or not, because I can't put them all on at the same time. But 3 of the panels from one company, EMS Automotive, EMS Automotive, whatever. The gauge, nice, thick, and visually they're stamped and they look good. We'll see when we hold them up to the car in a moment. And then the other 2 from another company, and pretty sure I could have done this. And probably this too. This just looks a little, I'm gonna have to do a little hammer and dolly work right there. That's a little inconsistent. But these look real nice. Real nice. Heavy gauge, like I said. Body lines look good. I am not much for believing in lap welding panels, so I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this edge, this indentation off on both of them, and butt weld them to the body. So next step, we'll be holding them up to the car and seeing if I'm still happy. So I'm about to start fitting this lower rear driver quarter piece, and you know, I want to look inside to make sure I'm not going to cut into any wires. So moving the wires around, and this is not Ford original 1x1 chunk of wood. It's not on the other side. Obviously it's not stock, but you know, extra points for creativity. I'm pretty sure that is wedged in there because there's probably a big oil can here, and I guess I'd rather see the chunk of wood in there pushing the quarter out than, you know, half an inch thick of filler like most shops would do. I mean, the proper thing to do is to fix the oil can, but we'll see. When I cut this, I'll pull that out, see what happens, and go from there. But just, you gotta laugh at it. You gotta laugh at it. I'm still glad they kept the car on the road. First rough cut. You saw it happen. I only rough cut it because when I held up the new quarter piece, previously this has been so molested that the contours are so wrong that it wouldn't fit up flush to this area. So I rough cut it. I want to clean up these edges and then refit the new piece. But I don't know if you noticed how I cut this with the cutoff wheel, but I kind of just skated the blade along here, back and forth until it just went in. I did that for two reasons. I wasn't sure how close this inner piece was to the quarter, right? And I didn't want to cut into this. And also, when I showed you me moving this wire, I couldn't get all the way in here, right? So I didn't want to just cut in and put it in deep. And I'm glad I did that, because the wire loom is hanging below my cut, and look, nothing. No damage at all. So that's still good. I also think when you just kind of skate the blade across the metal several times until it pops through, I think the blade lasts longer. The cutoff wheel lasts longer. And longer lasting cutoff wheel, that I'm fine with that. So you can see they really gooped this up. This is, whatever this is, I don't know, you might see it on top of a barn out in the country. Tar. It's pretty gooey. That is that's not factory. And there is some rust through on the inner wheel well that I will have to address before the new outside skin goes on. Look what else I did. A little bit of fiberglass, or maybe paper mache, and these little backside of rivets, 3 of them, Here's some more fiberglass. You can see the pattern in there. All right, cut it off and put new on. What a ridiculous mess this is. I'm trying to get to see where good metal is on the inner wheel well here, because the pre-made piece, you know, doesn't fit for anything. So there is factory undercoating and tar, and I don't know what all is in here, but I mean, look at how thick some of this undercoating is. It's like 1/4 inch, and it's it's all over me. I will say though, this type of wire wheel, man, it cuts it quick. I should have had a suit on though, because dirty, very dirty. But this piece here, if you remember earlier in the video, this was completely flat, and even this was flat. It had a lip, that was it, and the lip was wrong. It didn't line up with this piece at all. So I got that lining up rough, but I need to get these contours correct for the inner wheel well. But and find out where good metal is. You know, if the wheel well is good metal to here, then I don't need to spend time shaping and curving all of that, which definitely looks like I can trim that down. It's a mess though. Let me show you where we're gonna end up here on this. There's really, we're under construction, right? So there's really no good way of looking at this really. This rough cut was to give me access to all this on this side, obviously, and to fit this piece, which I'll put up there, but I wanted to show you this inner lip was totally rusted through, and things that they did, junk on the floor, had to be cut out and done right. The back side here is really finished in my mind. We'll clean this up some more and re-undercoat this so it all matches. But there's so much wrong with what they did here. This piece we're replacing also. If you look, some of this is metal, some of this is fiberglass, some of this is overlapped metal that is pop riveted, layered up, and this whole corner, the sheet metal was wrong, the inner structure was wrong. You know, I said the fender skirt didn't fit at all. So with with so much being wrong, you are very limited to correct reference points when you're fitting pieces. Before I screw that back on to show you where we're ending this one, this piece here was this lip here was one of those pre-made pieces. It was more squared off, and I cut off a lot of it because I didn't need it. I bead rolled this lip in. So earlier in the video when I said I'm not for lap welding, and I cut this piece off, let me show you the other side. We just got that today, just so we're all on the same page talking about this. They bead roll that stepped it and to overlap it to the sheet metal. So upper quarter, lower, overlap. Same with this one. This is easier to see. When it comes to sheet metal, like the skins of the quarters and doors and any sheet metal piece that gets paint, I don't like to overlap it. I butt weld it, flush both sides. The main reason for that is when things get hot in the sun, one piece of metal to one piece of metal butt welded heats up at the same time. So these cars, the sheet metal moves depending on how hot it is, how cold it is, right? When you overlap it, you have like one layer and then an overlapped layer and then one layer. So the overlapped area heats up differently and reacts differently to the heat. And if you got a really nice car and you look close at it in the sun, you're gonna, or in the extreme cold, you're gonna see a weird body. You know, when you look down the side, it's not going to be smooth. It's going to have either a out or a in. It's not going to be extreme, but depending on how nice the paint job is, you're going to see it if you're going to look. So this I overlapped. This is structural. It's not the skin of the sheet metal. And this overlap is just going to add more strength to everything. If you see here, there's a factory indented body line there. Easier to see it on this side. So that is that. I mean, this is crazy strong, right? Sheet metal, not so much. That is the reasoning for not lap welding sheet metal. It's easier. It's definitely easier to overlap this piece into this piece and weld it. You know, I welded it on this side, obviously. It's way easier. But easy ain't right. Ain't the right way to do it on sheet metal. Fitment on here is still, we're still working on it, it's still under construction. Obviously, I am not going to overlap this, as I just explained. These screws, self-tappers, are just here to hold things in place while I constructed and fixed this inner area. I just started from the back. This was my starting point and just worked forward. I had to recontour this. It wasn't right stamped, but you know, no big deal there. The rest of this is really where it should be. There was this little inner piece though. That was a lot of, it was a lot of work. It was making the piece wasn't a lot of work, but fitting and wedging myself in here to weld and grind and you know, the hoist up and down a million times. It was a bit of a chore. It was like more work to do that inner piece than it will be to do this whole big outer piece, because it's just easier to access this when I get after it. And this is the next piece that I'm going to fully weld in. So things are marked with the Sharpie, and now that the inner structure on this part is done, I will move on to this inner structure before I commit to putting this on 100%. And we ended up ordering this piece because the wheel well opening is just a little too big for the skirt now. Before the contours were all wrong, and now it's just too long because this area here has been messed with. So, and it needs to be repaired anyway. So between this contour being wrong and not tight enough, we ended up buying another piece. Originally I was just gonna fix this, leave the lip the way it is, but it's not quite right. That is where I'm gonna leave the 54 video. And obviously we got more to do. I've been kind of hammering on this the last week or so because the 442, I'm waiting for stuff, outsource stuff on that to be finalized and pretty much the same with the Firebird. We've been picking away at the Firebird on little mechanical stuff. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you weekly content on all the different projects that are going on in the shop. I do appreciate it. Thanks.